Thank you, everyone, for joining me for today's Real Talk Women in Wine. I'm Troy Ament, Field Chief Information Security Officer at Fortinet, the world's largest pure-play cybersecurity partner. It's my honor to introduce April Marbury, the Senior Vice President and Chief Information Security Officer at Diversicare. Diversicare is recognized as the premier partner of post-acute care. April oversees strategy and development and the execution of Diversicare's health ecosystem through information and technology. In addition, Mrs. Marbury serves on the advisory board and helped institute the Tennessee HIMSS chapter.
All right, good afternoon. Thank you, Troy, for the introduction. We are here this afternoon at Arrington Winery for Real Talk Women in Wine. With me, I am just so privileged to be here with three great ladies. Evelyn Cotton, to my right here. Evelyn is the AVP of Business Analyst. She's a Business Analyst and a Quality Assurance at HCA Healthcare. She has been with HCA for 18 years and was with Noel Williams 2019 Corporate Award winner. Evelyn is native of Nashville and has 33 years of experience in IT spanning the entire spectrum of the software development lifecycle, including project management, business analysts, requirements and design, application development, quality assurance, implementation, and is also a Six Sigma black belt. The last 25 years of her career has been leading both U.S. and international QA organizations for companies including GE, SAIC, which I'm assuming we pronounce that as, is it?
I think we just do SAIC, it's fine.
Got it. And HCA, both U.S. and international QA organizations. And away from the office, Evelyn enjoys spending time with her husband, 4 kids, and spoiling her grandchildren. She has recently tapped back into her creative sides. Oh yeah, I love this. And loves spending time painting, sewing, cooking, and making something amazing out of nothing called arts and crafts for most of us.
Right.
Thank you, Evelyn, for being here. Emily Francis. Emily recently joined Palo Alto Networks as Cortex Regional Sales Manager and is based in Nashville, Tennessee. Her experience and interest has primarily been in networking, security, AI, and machine learning. I'm so impressed with you, girl.
Thank you.
She is a strong advocate for diversity and inclusion, serving as Director of Outreach for Women in Technology of Tennessee, with a particular focus on expanding mentoring opportunities and programs for women and girls pursuing technology careers. For fun, she enjoys spending time with her husband, 1-year-old daughter, which is she's gorgeous, and 3 dogs. She also enjoys photography, fitness, and improving her game on the golf course. So we've got
It's not great, but I'm working on it.
Hey, it's all about just the practice. And then we have Beth Hogue, Trinis's Chief Operating Officer, has more than 24 years of experience in leading technology and organizational improvement initiatives. She has overseen internal operations and all professional service engagements at Trinisys since 2009. My apologies. Beth designs and implements business strategies, plans, and procedures that ensure the company's performance and growth goals are met. Throughout her time at Trinisys, Beth has been instrumental in helping the company increase revenue by over 50%.
Oh, right.
Wow.
How impressive is that? In a few years' time, and bringing over 70 new faces to the team. Congratulations for adding that many people. That is awesome. Previously, Beth was a senior project manager and software development manager at PICA or PICA Group, and was the project manager for CNA Life. Beth serves on the board of the Nashville Technology Council and the Leadership Advisory Board of TechBridge Tennessee. She served on the board of Women in Technology of Tennessee for 10 years, including a term as president. She is also active in Healthcare Information and Management Systems Society. We know that as HIMSS. And the Project Management Institute, the PMI. Beth is a graduate of Central Michigan University and a certified project management professional. I am so impressed to be here with you, all of you. And so we're going to get into just some conversation this afternoon. We came up with some topics that we thought we wanted to bring to the table with you, and thank you again for joining us. So let me get my questions up. All right, ladies, are we ready?
We're ready.
We got our glass of
Do this.
wine.
We're ready.
Yes, ready to go.
Yep.
So I'm just going to start. I'll start with you, Evelyn,
Okay.
and then we'll go around the room. Or feel free. I want this to be very conversational, so feel free just to chime in. Do you believe women carry the burden of guilt between work and home,
Yes.
exceeding in their career when a coworker or coworker friend is left behind, being the breadwinner in the family, and so on? So a lot of different topics there within that one question. So I'll let you just take it from here.
Okay. We're human. We're going to feel guilt. So part of empathy is part of caring, is part of feeling like we want to do great in our jobs as well as do really great taking care of our families. And so it is so real, and I think every woman out there feels it in one way or another. When I think back over my career, I think early when my kids were young and I had to make a choice between advancing my career and taking on a position over an international QA organization or being there for my kids at the age of 2 or 3. And I said, 2 or 3, they won't miss me as much. They're surrounded by a loving family, my husband, my in-laws, so, everybody's there to care for them. And so I went off, and for a year and a half, almost 2 years, I traveled the world and I advanced my career, and I learned things that I never imagined I would learn. And I remember the turning point of walking into the Nashville airport, and this was back when you could actually meet your family at the gate.
Right, right.
So I'm getting off the plane, and I'm walking off the plane. I'm like, oh my God, those kids are so cute over there. And it hit me. I was like, oh my, those are my babies. And they've grown about a foot, and and I'm like, what have I just missed out on? Great opportunity here, but I just missed out on them growing up. And I had probably been away 3 weeks at the most. And at that point I thought, you know what? It's time. The mother guilt kicked in. And it's like, regardless of how many neat things you bring them back from India and all over the world, it doesn't replace you being there.
Right.
So fast forward 12 years or so, my son's headed off to college, and he's my baby. And I'm going through his room because he didn't clean it up before he left to go to college. And I found this stack of papers that he wrote during his years of school. He's a pack rat. And one said, shipped like mail. And I thought, let me read this, shipped like mail. And he's like, I got used to in my early years being packed up and sent to grandma's house because mom was going to travel. Mm-hmm. And grandma would pack me up and I'd go to my aunt's house for the weekend. And you're talking about mommy guilt at that moment. And he's an amazing young man. He's doing amazing things, and he's off to college. And I just had to say, you know what? At that point in time in life, I made the right decision.
Sure.
He's a great person. He's doing great things. All my kids are. And so I had to, at that point in life, think about the career. And because of the career choices I made, I was able to provide for them as well as fulfill my needs as a career woman. And so, yeah, mommy guilt was there, but I had to. I think all of us have to come to realization and say, I made a choice and I can't look back, and I made that choice for the right reason, and it's okay.
Right.
And so that's my story.
All right.
Thank you, Ella. You had support though.
Oh,
That was one thing
yes.
I was going to touch on. I'm kind of going through that right now. I have a 1-year-old daughter. Going back to work was incredibly hard for me.
Mhm.
I took, she was 5 months old when I officially went back to work, and that transition was incredibly difficult. There were tears for weeks,
Yeah.
but even though there were tears and it was difficult, I still felt like this is my truth,
Mhm.
and I have a passion for work,
Yes.
and I have a passion for the work that I do. And wouldn't it be great if I could be a representation of what a working mom can be for my daughter?
Yes.
And so even on the really hard days and on the days that maybe I don't get home in time before she goes to sleep, I just sit back and I think it's okay because I'm still gonna set boundaries. I'm still gonna make sure I spend the whole weekend with her. And I'm showing her that as she grows up, she can be a mom and she can pursue her dreams, whatever those may be in work. And so that's kind of what keeps me going.
Yeah.
Is just knowing that she's gonna have an influence that's showing her she can do whatever she wants. And being a mom doesn't necessarily mean it slows you down.
Yep. And I'll tell you, my 28-year-old and my 34-year-old today go, we work as hard as we do because we've watched you do it. We know the sky's the limit because you have been our role model.
Right.
And so for me, that's where I go back and go, I made the right choices and decisions. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, my story's a little different. When my oldest daughter was born, we decided one of us was going to stay home. We weren't really sure who it was going to be. I had a better insurance package, so
Better do it, yeah.
I worked for an insurance company. I had great
It's just a
insurance.
little thing.
Eric was a musician too, so it kind of made sense. We thought since we had a baby, he would have a lot of time to spend on music.
Sure, that makes sense.
Ours didn't work that way. Our baby wasn't quite that easy model, but so I went to work and Eric stayed home. And similar to you, I had been home for 4 months. I met Eric after work the first day at Radnor Lake. We were going to go for a walk, and I was just sobbing. Like he's like, "This is never going to work. I need more days." So it did work. And back then, dads didn't stay home with their
Right.
kids.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
we were like weird, and what were they doing? And what was wrong with them? Plus, he's from Denmark, so there's clearly something wrong with us. But we just stuck with it, and we made it work. Eventually, we realized that our daughters needed to do something like go to Parents' Day Out or do some sort of interaction. But I realized that since I had Eric at home and he was doing everything with the kids, and I just had to really get up, go work out, go to work. He would make my lunch for me. He would make dinner when I got home. and
Wow.
the
He
kids-
was your wife.
He was. Don't tell him.
He won't watch this
No.
now.
But it made it easy for me to do the things that are important that you say yes to at your job. So can you do this? Yes. Can you travel? Yes. Can you go here? Yes. Can you stay late? Yes. Can you do all the things that, to your point, make you feel guilty because
Right.
your female colleagues can't. They have to get to daycare. They came in late because their kid was throwing up, or of course I came to work with throw up down my back. I didn't realize it, but I also had someone who could bring me a shirt, so I didn't have to stay in that shirt all day. So as my career grew and I was able to take on more responsibilities and Eric got more comfortable in his role, and maybe not for my husband, but it wasn't like a natural fit for him. He wasn't like, I'm gonna just do this and it's so easy.
Yeah.
But as the kids grew up and as he got more comfortable with it and as he took on more of those responsibilities, I was able to start the Board of WIT, and I mean that's a full-time job. It's a volunteer organization, but if you really put your heart and soul into it, it takes a lot of time. But I never wanted to show my girls that you do anything halfway. So if you're going to take on responsibility, you do what you say you're going to do and you help make a difference. They wanted to start, my daughters were big swimmers and they didn't have a swim team. At their high school, they needed to start a 501c3, it had to be a club, and they needed people to help start this. And of course, I wanted to do that too. But of course, all these things take away from your time with your kids. So how do you keep making sure you're balancing the things that you do that are important to your family, but also to your career? I did think I did an okay job of balancing it. I think I missed more than I cared to. I tried to be at every event and everything they did. I don't know that I was 100% successful, but I did as well as I could. But I did know that as they got older, they recognized that, and they knew the work not only that I did with Trinisys as we were building that company, and of course they both can't wait till they work there. Which neither one of you went into technology. No matter how much I pushed that.
They're going to get in
So
there
when they
still
were
somehow.
little, I was like, you should get a degree in something in technology, and they're like, no, we're not doing that. Can we work at your company? No. As they grew up and as they are now in college, I think they see, and they've met so many people from so many different backgrounds, what we did as a family so they could really have the best of both worlds and I could really grow in my career. But I did know, like we would take, I'm a huge proponent of vacations. I love to vacation. We travel all the time. But part of the reason is because we would take 2 weeks in the spring and the fall and they were different. Like to your point, like you would watch them change over those 2 weeks.
Yep.
Or they were the same, but you didn't know they had changed and you got to spend all this time enmeshed with them and the family and really find out like what amazing people they were continuing to become, which makes it all worthwhile.
Sure.
I don't know if I would do it, I don't think we would do it different, like knowing what I know now. I mean, we were in the right roles for our personalities. I would have driven the whole family crazy if I could say. I would have organized them and planned everything, but now they're their own thought, they do their own thinking and they plan.
Which is good. Yeah.
Because their dad nudged
Right.
them instead of forced them, so.
So before we go on to the next question though, I think you have an audience here. So what's the one little bit of advice that you would give to the women out there to overcome the guilt, if they have the guilt? What's the one little tidbit of advice you would give them to help them along?
I say, once again, it's natural. Make your choice, make your decision, weigh your pros and cons, and if it's the best thing for you, go forward and do it. And don't look back. Do not look in that rearview mirror and try to figure out what if I would have changed course. Stay the course. And you know what? In life, you can always change course. So if you get halfway down that road and you realize it wasn't the right decision, modify it.
Yeah.
But do not look back. And it'll be okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's going to happen.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree. I mean,
Set boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
Follow your intuition. Don't look back. Make the call.
Yeah.
And then set boundaries.
Yep,
And
you have to.
identify appropriate times for things.
Mhm.
So if you can log off every day at 5 and do the whole dinner, bath time, bedtime routine, and then maybe you log back in after,
Bingo.
that's your boundary.
Yep.
It's gonna be different for everyone,
Mhm.
but figure out what those are and follow your intuition and do what's right. I mean, you know, deep down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what's best for you and your family.
And what's the most important thing for you? And stick to it. And it doesn't matter what's important to other people
No.
or what other families look like or what they're doing. Make your decisions and just do it.
All right. I like it. So you guys are all in different type of roles. But I think with everything going on in the world, what motivates you to get up and start your day?
Wow. You know, there are days that I want to just hide and just pull the cover over my head and not get up at all. But once again, we touched on this some. I am a role model not only for my family, but for my team. And working for HCA, I realize that every day that I get up, I'm making a difference in a patient's life.
Sure.
Everything that I do, even though I'm in IT, impacts that patient in the bedside. And guess what? The doctors and the nurses don't have a choice. They have to show up.
Right.
And so during everything that's going on right now, I've learned that some stuff I have to tune out in order for my own mental health. Some stuff I have to tune into for awareness of what's going on in the world. But I have to get up every day and I have to make a difference. And I have to show my kids when they call and go, Mama, I want to go to work. No, you're going to get up and you're going to show up and you're going to make a difference. And so that's it, you know?
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
What motivates me? I mean, I've really found my passion. You know, I have a passion for technology. I work in technology, but I mean, you know, serving on the board of WIT, like I have a passion and a purpose to help other women pursue their dreams in technology. And so I wake up every day and I have my purpose. And that's fulfilling. So it's not hard to be motivated by something like that. You know, it's just, and that's what I do every day. I wake up and I know what I want to work on that day.
I think that's the thing. Like, do what you love, do what you're passionate about, and you want to get up every day and you want to do it and you enjoy the life that you have. There's no sense in building a life that you don't love and enjoy.
Right.
Yep.
And I mean, it sounds like we all are doing what we love to do
yes.
professionally,
Yes.
right? So
Absolutely.
it makes the day so much easier because it's not about I'm going to work. It's about, oh, I get to go solve this problem today,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
So all good stuff. Let's talk about balancing work and life, because right now we just talked about the guilt part, but it's very easy for all of us to get out of whack. I mean, I'm the kind of personality, if my schedule isn't being overwhelmed a little bit, I feel like I'm missing out on something in life. And it doesn't just necessarily have to do with work. It could be something totally personal too, as a hobby. So I have to really watch myself from not getting over involved and in a lot of different little things. But so let's talk about balancing life between work and our personal.
You know, I think it goes back to what you said a couple of times. It's boundaries, setting boundaries. Setting boundaries and then giving up control. And people that are around me know that I've got a little control freak issue going on. But I've had to set boundaries because I'll be the first one to go, I'll do that, and I'll do that, and I'll do that. And people are like, you can't do it all. And I'm not happy unless the weekend is full and I'm doing all these things. And so you have to step back and go, what is it that other people can do to help you?
Right.
Because, you know, you hear I want a balanced life and work and life, and there's no true balance. Something's got to give, and you've got to figure out what is it that you're willing to give up or to give. And the only way that I've learned over these past 54 years of life is that other people have to be there and available to help. I can't be Superwoman. I've got to rip the S off my chest, throw it away, and go, I need help. And it's okay to ask for help. And that's the only way that you're really going to be able to do this so-called balance thing.
You hit really close to home for me. I am going through this right now. I have no work-life balance. I'm in a new role. I want to be the best. I got to get up to speed. I got to do all the training. Plus, I got to do all the things that they need me to do. So it's full-time job plus trying to get up to speed, which is another full-time job, plus volunteering, another full-time job, plus mom, another full-time job, plus wife, another full-time job. And so,
You need another job?
yes, I do. What do you got for us?
Sit on your hands.
I know. You sit on your hands, yeah.
Well, I'm sitting on my hands right now. I realized, and I mean, this is very like current and present for me. I have taken a step back within the last 2 weeks, and I am analyzing and evaluating, setting new boundaries, and I am leaning on my support system. I cannot say how important communication is. If you're married with your partner, for me, I sat down with my husband and I'm like, I got a lot to do right now, a lot to be done, a lot is on my to-do list. Help me figure out how we can maybe conquer some of these things together. And so like every day we communicate about it, and I'm like, these are the things I have to do, you know, I may need your support, I may need you to like kind of step in and do a little bit more at home with the home duties so I can get these things done. So I don't have work-life balance right now. But
It's
I'm
a
working
myth.
on
It doesn't exist.
Yeah.
But you acknowledged it and you're
Yeah.
working on it.
And I've also found another tidbit that I found to be very helpful, which my life coach actually gave. Yes, I have a life coach. It's kind of what started all this. She told me, she's like, when you're trying to transition, because it can be the most stressful time of the day from work to home, it can be really hard for husband and wife or partner. And for me, that was the case, and I was bringing my stress and my crazy day into home. And when we're all working from home because of COVID, it's really all in the same house. And so she said, take 5 minutes, download a meditation app, and completely leave work at work. Like if that's your physical office, like meditate for 5 minutes in there, and then step out of the office and you have left it all there. And so for the last 2 weeks I've done that, and I've seen tremendous improvement. Yeah, so
That's
I
good.
highly recommend that.
I said, my kids know, they knew the rule. And it's when I walk through the door, everybody's like, Mommy, Mommy, Mommy. And I know you want to tell me about your day. And all I asked for, I said, give me 30 minutes. And I would go in my room and I'd shut the door. And for 30 minutes, you can't knock on the door. You can't do anything unless somebody's bleeding or hurt. And so for 30 minutes, I had exactly what you're saying. That transition of let me go from work mode to now mommy mode or wife mode or sister
All of
mode or friend mode. And that 30 minutes gave me enough time to just go, and whatever happened in that room in 30 minutes was my secret.
That's your business.
But it was my business. But it had to happen. And and they knew, even growing up, they were like, she's got to have her 30 minutes.
Yeah.
So she's right on point. It
Yeah.
changed my life. I will tell you that.
It's
Yeah.
working so far. I'm 2 weeks in. So.
Keep it up. Keep it up.
It's funny because I thought I had great work-life balance before when the kids were home. Like there were things you had to do to stop the day naturally, even though Eric was home, to go to things or to be there or to be present. But I noticed when our youngest daughter went to college, like I leave at 5 to go to the gym, and then we have work day, and then there's always things after work. And if you network a lot, which I do, there's something a lot, and there's always a reason why you have to be there.
Right.
And I realized I was getting home at like 7 or 7:30, which just kept getting longer, and the day kept getting longer. And then when COVID happened and I was at home, I thought, oh, I love it here. Like, why don't I have to be here? We got a new roof that I didn't even see for like a week because it was dark outside when I left, and when I got home, it was beautiful. I liked it. It looked nice on our house. But it's all those things that you don't realize that the life creeps in. And then I had set such great boundaries with COVID because I was going to work at this time, and I was going to go for a walk, and I was going to do all these things, and I was in charge of my own destiny because I was at home. And then it slowly like started creeping back in, and now I have to set an alarm and say you have to get up from your desk or block time on my calendar. I have to set the alarm and block the time because the blocking time is just a joke. Like that's
Right.
It
that's
does
just
work.
nice.
Yeah.
But the alarm that goes off and then it goes off 5 minutes later, and then it goes off, it's like that's helpful. So I can actually get up and walk around. But then leaving and doing a commute down the hallway to my house, it's important, and it's important that I get up and walk away, or you just keep getting back into those old habits and starting to say no. Like I don't have to be at everything, and I don't have to go to every meeting, and other people can do things too. It's hard. I'm a little bit of a
Delegating.
control freak. I mean, not very much.
Well, nobody can do it better than you.
I know.
Right, that's right.
Yeah.
Why do we expect them to? They can't. Yeah.
The world, so. Put a little plan together, we'll execute on that.
But do not tell my husband I'm a control freak. Don't.
No,
let him
my
know
husband's
that.
not
Yeah.
a dad either. He
He's
thinks
not.
I'm pretty laid back.
Yeah.
Poor guy married a social working hippie, and then he got me.
Yin and yang.
And that's why I was a social working hippie when he married.
Oh, and then you.
Oh no.
So he's like, whoa, wait a minute.
So
This is
laid
not the one
back.
I
We worked
married,
in a
right?
resort. I rode horses every day. He was like, oh,
What a dream.
where?
Where did she go?
It's like, oh, sorry.
Vault.
So with COVID, I mean, you know, that's a subject we haven't touched on yet, but I mean, it is a bad situation. But you know, when I try to make, I had an old boss tell me one day, when you have lemons, you make lemonade, April. And so any situation that I encounter faced with, I always try, okay, what's going to be I got to find something positive with this. And so with COVID, that's what I try to do as well. And so I'd love to hear just what is one thing that you see as a positive because of COVID? Because it's all been so negative, and it is bad. It's a bad situation for so many people. But what is the one thing that you think has been positive for you that would have never happened probably had it not been for COVID?
Spending more time with my husband. He's retired, and so he's at home all day, and he's doing his whatever retired people do kind of thing. And to wake up in the morning and to be there and to eat breakfast together and to, you know, throughout the day see each other where it would have been, you know, hours on time
Sure.
before we caught up. But it's that family time, even extended families. Just we were talking the other night, and a bunch of us were together around the fire pit and outside, and we were like, man, COVID, no, man, thank you, COVID, for bringing us together in smaller groups of just being there for each other and together, and slow down. Because a lot of things that I was doing with nonprofits and everything else, it's just come to a screeching halt, and it's like,
I agree.
This is not bad. This is okay.
I like these people.
I like these people, and
so
I
glad
love my home, and I don't need to do these things to fix it up a little more. And I love the Amazon guy, you know.
On the driveway, the son would sit at this one spot on the driveway in the afternoon. The Amazon guy was like, every day out here drinking. We're like, yep.
Well, for me, I got to witness my daughter's first steps.
That's amazing.
We kept her out of daycare for like that first month when things were really scary.
Mhm.
I mean, there's still a lot of unknowns, but in March there was
Oh.
really all of it was
Sure.
unknown,
Mhm.
and so we pulled her out for a month, and I was lucky enough to get to witness the connection she made in her brain that these are my two legs, and oh my gosh, I can control them. And that to me, like, I would have missed that otherwise. That probably would have happened at daycare because it was during the day, and it was like in between meetings where I had a second to go hang out with her, like, you know, before nap time, or maybe it was after nap time, I don't remember. But also, I really learned to love my front porch.
Mhm.
So kind of like to what you were saying, I don't think I've ever appreciated a front porch
Yeah.
more than I did
Yep.
like during the first part of quarantine. Like that was like what I did for fun. I would like pour me a glass of wine or bourbon
Drink of choice.
and just sit out there and like watch the sunset.
Mhm.
And I have a donkey that lives across the street. Got to hear him. We got to get to know him a little bit better. So, yeah, I mean, it just time slowed down.
Yeah.
Mhm. Mhm.
And I think that we all kind of like became a little bit more mindful and like more present in the now,
Mhm.
which I think all of the women in this room would agree, like that can get away from us sometimes. And so
Sure.
it kind of like I had to exercise that muscle, the
Mhm.
being present. It was good.
That's what it was for me, being at home. My daughters both moved home, which I never thought our oldest daughter would move home again. I mean, being the four of us together in the house and just hearing their day to day and being together. And I'm a huge windows open person. It's people. I mean, I didn't care how loud. We have really loud birds. We live in the woods, and every call I was on, everyone was like, "Your birds are so loud." I'm like, "Yes," and the windows are staying open. But it was amazing. Like I had nature all around me, and the girls would sit outside my window if the sun was out because, of course, they wanted to lay out and go to school, and I could hear them talking. And I'm sure, I'm hoping my daughter and my future son-in-law don't hear this, but I could hear her on the phone doing the marriage counseling because they had to do it remotely because they couldn't be together to do it. And I was like, who is she telling this to? And I was listening, and I was like, she was talking about like how her dad and I had established our life and things that she really liked about that and things that she wanted to do. And her fiance was doing the same, and it was cool. And I could hear her talking to her sister about things. And every day we met outside for happy hour, French porch. There might have been bourbon involved. And we would see our neighbors. Our neighbors don't come out. Like we live in a really spread out neighborhood. They don't walk. They don't ride. They were all out walking, riding their bikes. Their kids. They were saying hello. They're like out drinking again. Yes, we are. But we were very fortunate. I mean, our daughters are in college, so we didn't have to help them with school. We didn't have to stop them from doing whatever it is I'm sure your daughter's doing, that you have to catch her now that she can walk. And everyone could really do their own things, and they were functional. And it was just fun to be together, and I don't regret that time at all. I loved it. And I noticed that we don't have any family that lives here, so we're all remote. Everyone was checking in with everyone, like every day almost.
Huge, yeah.
Even my husband's family in Denmark, his mom, his brothers and sisters are all over there, and they were all calling every day and FaceTiming, and we were more connected to them than we've been in 25 years. And
Otherwise, it would be like
cool.
we talk to them once a year, we talk to them every 6 months, but now it's just
Yeah.
constant communication.
Yeah, exactly. It was really nice. I just felt like my world got smaller, and it got to be the people who are really the most important to me. It was nice.
I'm with you. I think the one thing that COVID has done, it slowed with the slowing down of everything. It just naturally slowed me down. I had no choice but to slow down, and I kind of like it.
Yeah.
It's not that bad.
It's really great.
So
It's gonna be hard to go back to the yeah.
talk about
I set more boundaries because it's like now that I've seen the slowdown, it's like, okay, no, I won't do that. But
You want to be at your fire pit.
I wanna be
on
at
your
the
front
fire-
porch. Yeah.
uh-huh.
And you
Yeah.
don't want to miss the sunset
no,
or the first walk.
of the first
I know.
walk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. So I think we're all probably A-type personalities.
No.
I don't think
No, I
so.
don't think no.
Probably a little bit of
No.
control.
No, not ever.
Hear that evil laugh coming out. We're like, yes.
We're gonna drink to that.
Yep.
That's what we're gonna do.
Yeah, as we say in the South, what is it? Bless you. Or
Bless you a little hard.
Bless
Bless
your
you a little
little
hard. Yeah. Bless you hard.
have there ever been times when, you know, people have portrayed you as being too abrasive or too direct? How'd you handle that?
You know,
Well, first of all, is that true?
you know, and for me, I grew up with a mother that said you can get more from sugar, honey than you can from vinegar. So she was always that peacemaker. She was always that, wait a minute, think about what you say and how you say it and how it impacts a person.
Right.
And so growing up hearing that over and over and over again, when I began my career and I worked for bosses that were a little more abrasive, a little more harsh, a little more not caring about feelings and you as a person, I stepped back and said, I don't ever want to be that person. And so for me, although my team knows when I'm stern, and one person said, you know, I can tell when you really mean business because the corner of your lip kind of turns up. And so when that happens, I know it's like,
Can you
no,
show us?
I don't know what it looks like. I haven't seen it.
Mean business.
I don't know what it
I
looks
want
like.
to see the mean business face too. I want one too.
I don't know what it looks like, but they know. They know. And so I have hopefully built a reputation where I can get it done without being very aggressive or being the B word that we're sometimes labeled.
Right.
I'm sure my husband and family would say differently, but I at least try not to be that person. However, I have colleagues that I know that I work with and they go, I'm a strong personality and I'm sometimes labeled this way, so I'm working hard to fit into the culture because I'm just that. I'm going to tell you how it is. I don't mean any harm by it. I'm not going to sugarcoat my words, and it is what it is. And so I do know other females that have to alter their instinct personality to fit into the world of corporate America or IT or whatever.
Right.
But I've been told you've got to be the bad cop, and I'm like, but I'm being the bad cop, but I'm doing it in a nice way,
Right.
and I still get things accomplished. So hopefully, those out there who are listening say, yeah, that's true, or if not, let me know.
How about you, Emily?
I mean, I feel like I'm the same, but in every job I've had since I've been out of college, I
2
kid you
years.
not, you guys.
2
I kid you
years.
not,
That's what I was thinking like last
No.
year.
I
think I'll
wish.
drink to that.
For real. We'll drink to Emily
Okay.
out of school
Out of
for 2
school for
years.
2 years.
Yeah, we'll go with that. Let's see. So 4 companies, probably like 8 bosses, 6 or 8 bosses. I kid you not. I feel like I'm the nice one. Like you attract more bees with honey than vinegar. They all, at one point or another, have nicknamed me Bulldog.
You're pretty
But you get in and you get it done.
I
and
just
you
get it
can
done.
do
I'm like, that
Yeah.
shouldn't hurt your
Bulldog's
feelings.
the
I'm
best.
just trying to check it off the list.
Yeah, it's just I'd rather be a bulldog than the other.
Yeah, I think so.
The
too.
other B word.
The other B word, yeah.
But I do find myself, because I know that about me,
Mhm.
and I know they say that about me, I find myself feeling like the extra pressure when I'm sending an email or I'm sending a text message. I've got to use exclamation points instead of periods,
Yes.
or I need to put a smiley face at the end, or say thanks so much! Exclamation points!
Yes.
And like guys don't have to do that.
No, they
And
don't.
nobody would think twice if a guy didn't do that. But I feel the pressure that if I don't do that, I'm gonna get a phone call and like, all right, is everything okay? Like, I didn't mean to offend, and it's like, well, yeah, I wasn't offended. I
Right.
just didn't put a smiley face in my email.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yep.
you were just direct and you asked
Yep.
for some. I have to do that too.
Yep.
Like,
Do
where
you?
I take a
Okay,
step
you
back
do.
and I'm like, I'm not probably not ready for anyone for me to follow up with them yet. I guess I'll wait until later today. I mean, but it's not because I mean anything by it. Someone told me early in my career, there's nothing wrong with what you're saying. It's your delivery.
Delivery.
And I thought,
Hmm.
but what is my delivery? Like, it's just facts. Like, are people, like, are they offended by facts? Like, how, like, what do
Yeah.
you, am I supposed to smile more? Like,
I was just
But
about
you
to
know
say
what?
that.
Yeah.
Obviously, you've done something. You did
Right.
something really
Yeah.
well because of your position.
oh, well,
running a
and
company.
you change your way you deliver
Sure you
things,
do.
and you think about it before you send an email, and you make sure you're like, okay, I'm not really calling you out.
Yeah.
I just would like to know.
We read it 3 times
Yes,
before I hit
yes.
send.
Yes.
Yep.
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 Yep. We recently did a build out and moved into new space during COVID. because that's what you do. Like when you send everybody home as you move into brand new space, that's really big. But the builder, like, you know, stuff comes up and it's like, it's really stressful and like, they talk to you and I would say, okay, or whatever. And they kept asking my assistant, like, when does she freak out? When does she blow up? And she's like, she doesn't. And she's like, but what, you know, like she goes back there and she's like a total bee. And he's like, no, like she just meant what she just said. Like, let her know when it's going to happen and
Right.
she'll communicate. And like one guy said, she's like a duck, like it's all calm and they're going 9 miles an hour under the water. And I thought,
Yeah.
wow, like I
I've
never
never heard that.
I had never thought of
That's a good
myself
vision.
that
It
way.
is. Yep.
But that's how I am.
Mhm.
Like I can stay really calm because we've learned to do that, right?
That's right.
We have,
That's
yep.
the way we have to behave. You can't get too emotional. You
Mhm.
can't get too upset.
Mhm.
You just have to take it all in and really think about how you respond and
mhm.
when you respond and. But your brain is
Is
going,
doing-
and you've made a list, and you have a plan, and you want to execute it.
And you're
then-
really saying, are you serious?
Well,
Yes.
I was talking to a friend walking this morning. It's like, you know, in the back of your mind, you're going, "What the what?" But it,
But they're not there
it
yet.
doesn't come out, and it's like, "Oh, okay, we can make that happen. How do we make that
Well,
happen?"
and the other people they're not
Aren't
where
there
their
yet.
brain is.
Yeah.
Like, they are 7
Right.
steps back
Mhm.
here. And so when you ask that, they're like, I don't know why Emily's and they're like, oh, I'm caught up to her now.
Yeah,
Which you have to
it
step
means-
back or it
Mhm.
comes off as bulldoggy or
Mhm.
aggressive or I guess calmly crazy.
Yeah.
Calmly
And
crazy.
it is some calmly crazy. It is because your brain is still, like you said, the
Yeah.
duck
Yeah.
thing going
I
on.
had never thought of it that way and I thought, oh, and I told my husband, he's like, nailed it.
It's just kind of swimming along, everything, and and your,
Underneath,
your
they're like,
brain is
yeah.
doing that. Yep.
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 That is awesome. So before we wrap up, is there any advice that you'd like to just share with the audience before we close up the session here in our chat?
You know, I've heard a lot of times, and I've been through different women's conferences and women getting together within the workplace, and a lot of us want to spend so much time saying, how do we lead like men? And I will tell you right now, no, you lead like a woman. What you bring to the table, you lead the way that you are comfortable leading, and you be true to yourself. And if you do that, you will be successful. And through the years, you will fine tune it,
Yeah.
and we will not ever be perfect at doing it. But once you find your groove and what works for you and what works for your teams and what works for the culture of your company, you will be successful. But don't ever think I've got to lead like a man.
No.
That's a fallacy, and don't even try to do it because we bring so many unique things to the table as women that we have to just do it, and we'll be respected for doing it.
And you won't come across as genuine, I don't think, if you
No,
try,
if you try to do
something that
something
you're
else.
not.
Mm-mm.
I mean, it's hard to hold up a facade.
Oh, you can't.
Yes, it is.
You can't.
And do all the things you're great at.
Right.
You gotta be true to yourself.
Got to.
Advice. I have lots of advice. I'm like trying to like tone it down.
Working on
Well,
this one.
Yeah. So WIT.
Yep.
I am director of outreach. I manage all of our mentoring programs.
Which is a lot. I mean, there is so much outreach.
How
that
many
WIC
mentoring
does.
programs are there?
So we have 4 universities right now, and we're in the middle of creating the framework for a professional one, which I had mentioned to you
Yeah.
maybe like a month ago. So soon to be 5.
Okay.
And it's interesting. So the mentoring programs we have active right now are all for colleges. But I actually learned a lot just like creating this and managing it. And so my advice is find a mentor. Actually, no, find more than one.
Yes.
You need a
Find
board of directors
more
for
than
yourself.
one mentor. And it's okay if they're more of a sponsor. You need both. You need sponsors, people that are gonna say good things about you and support you when you're not in the room. And then you need mentors to offer you perspective and advice that maybe you don't have the visibility to give yourself or to see on your own. And one thing I've also realized is all of my mentors up until like now, which I'm realizing this, it have been men. And so now I am on the hunt for a couple female mentors. And so my advice is have more than one mentor. You may not even know what you want out of them. It may just kind of come naturally, but find someone that inspires you.
Good.
Don't you think that Women in Technology or any organization like that you do things with that organization that are different from your job, that helps you come out of your comfort zone and really see. I never thought some of the things that I had to do for WIT, they take you completely out of your comfort zone. All of a sudden you're speaking in front of like 400 people about something you're passionate about, or you're putting together a mentor program and you're learning about that. Like doing that type of activity really helps, I think, broaden your perspective, meet different people, hear different opinions. Like it brings a lot to the table that you don't even think about when you think, well, I'm passionate about this, so I'll do it. I never went into Women in Technology like, I can't wait to see what I get out of this and how great it is for me.
Yeah.
Right.
But
Yes.
you get so much out of those interactions, or being on a board, or being involved with a nonprofit.
Yep.
It's just a whole different perspective you get from people on and the way the world works.
So now you guys have me going, okay, wait, let me go
Great
jump in.
group.
Yeah.
It's a great group because it's not just women. And we welcome everyone. You meet a lot of different people from a lot of different industries, and you hear about what they're doing. You get great ideas for your own things, but also you start meeting people in the community that bring you into other groups where you learn things from those groups.
Right.
And WIT was really a gateway networking group for me. Because I didn't know, when I started with WIT, I didn't know anyone in the community. Nobody knew Trinesis existed. We were like, hey, we're a company. These are a lot of people. It was overwhelming. But then as you got to know people through WIT, and it was so welcoming, and then you started going to other organizations, and you knew someone you knew who knew someone. So it really helped you make the world smaller and the Nashville community smaller. And I loved the time I had with that organization. But I will say too, be true to yourself and figure out what you are passionate about and what you want to do, and don't try to be like somebody else. And don't,
right.
I mean, learn from everybody and have different mentors and, and networking groups that just give you a broad experience, I would say. But to your point, women, men, people of different ethnicity, all of that. I have one friend that we have cocktails with every once a week with people like
On your front porch.
On the front porch, yeah.
we go to a restaurant.
Fancy.
we do sometimes
Does
go
the
to
Amazon guy
You live on the edge.
Penny Pens, and sometimes we go to Penny's back porch. So. It's women who live in Mount Juliet. So, but she said things that I would never have thought would have been part of her experience, and it wasn't ever part of mine. So it's just so interesting what you learn from other people and people who've had different experiences than you, and it's just great to broaden how you deliver your message because you've learned things about different people and people in the community. It's just very fulfilling.
Well, I want to thank you for this afternoon. I think this has
Thank
been
you.
a great session.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank
Great
you for
chat,
leading it.
and I've enjoyed your company and enjoyed the wine. The weather's great.
Great wine.
Great
Great
wine.
wine.
So if you
Right.
haven't tried,
Here's to you, ladies.
here's to you ladies. Cheers.
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 Cheers.